all this washing up I knew would pay off. I've come up with a brilliant idea to explain why VAT on education just does not work. You're going to have to watch until the end of the video, but it'll be worth it, I promise you. And please subscribe if you like it. Loads more where this is coming. It's fired my imagination. And because, you know, I think in pictures. Well, I thought in pictures to come up with this. So this is a child in state education, and this is a child in private education, and this is the bank of mum and dad. Now, the bank of mum and dad isn't as full as it used to be because mum and dad are having to pay increased prices in absolutely everything. So they are already squeezed to the hilt, but they've got to pay the private school fees. So they pay them. That's the percentage of their bank account that goes on their private school fees. And then Rachel Reeves says in the middle of the year, right, well, we need 20% more, please, because, oh, there's that funny thing. We need 20% more, please, because we are going to fund state education. So mum and dad pay 20% more. Now, it's a lot for them in January, mid-year, but the alternative is that they have to take said child out of education, so they don't want to do that. So those fees go into bank account. And then 20% goes into state education. So, oh, look, everybody's happy. I mean, we don't know if it has gone into state education. It's gone into the big pot, but we're going to pretend it's gone into state education because that's what Rachel Reeves is doing. So we know that mum and dad's bank account is squeezed and less is going in because they're having to pay more and more for everything. And it's the next academic year and it's fees time again. So in it goes, and let's not forget the 20%. So that goes in, and Rachel Reeves says, thanks very much, I'll have that in state education. So child tops up state education. State education is looking healthy. Private education, not so much, because the bank of mum and dad is empty. So we get to the next lot of fees, and mum and dad go, oh, there's no more money left. So what we're going to do, so we're going to have to take said child out of private education, and we're going to have to go into state education. But we'll take our money with us, so we'll top it up. That's good. And we'll use that and say, look, now we've got 1.5 bits, but there's nothing there. So as the years go on, state education starts using this money, and it gets less and less and less and less. And now state education's empty, but mum and dad are empty. Now, they can't get any money to go in there because it's all gone from here. So we've got two people needing no money. And then there's a third one that comes along, and the third one goes, well, I was going to go for private education, but you've made it too expensive. So I'm just going to trot over here to state education, and I'm going to line up with everybody else, and I'm going to ask you to pay for my education. But you've lost your education because you taxed my mum and dad. So you've now lost your private education. You could never have private education because private education was too expensive, and you didn't get anything because you had like a year of it being all right, but then that year had to fund that one and that one. So all of a sudden we've all lost everything. And oh, that didn't work. Now, I'm not for a second suggesting that Rachel Reeves should go through all of her policies with a jug of water and 3 glasses, although to be fair, I think we can see that it makes sense. But I am suggesting that maybe if she'd thought this through in simplistic terms, she'd have worked out that by putting tax on education doesn't work. And then she'd have saved herself the expense, which is actually us that's paying for it, isn't it? We're paying for the 4 KCs defending this court case. But she'd have saved us the unnecessary expenditure of funding a court case that we don't need, because we know that VAT on education doesn't work and everybody's cup is empty and everybody loses out on an education. And that, Your Honour, is Exhibit A. I might come back with Exhibit B later because I quite liked that. It was fun. Hope you enjoyed it too. Please do subscribe. There'll be more of these. As I've said, I'll keep them coming, and I'll keep them coming until they listen. They like doing this, la 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 la, but I also like doing this. You are wrong.